those in England who wish straitjackets were still the fashion. Punk rock groups usually play in private clubs or rented halls, and they tend to act out the theme of the lyrics, violence and destruction. The punk rock movement first got British attention when a girl was blinded in one eye by a flying glass at a punk rock performance. The proper punk philosophy is not that society must be changed, but that it must be destroyed. Whether they believe that is questionable, but they have convinced people they mean it. And punk rockers have an earned reputation for destruction and violence. These are the Damned. The song is Fan Club. It is a rare punk performance that doesn't wind up with someone hurt or something destroyed, usually for no discernible reason. At this performance by the Damned, fans were having such a good time bashing into each other that they ripped out the ceiling and the electrical wiring. It was the totally mindless action of which punk rockers seem inordinately proud. They can't do anything else. They can destroy. They count it an accomplishment. Fan does not use drugs. Drugs cost too much. But the typical punk rock fan drinks beer, all he can get, and the larger pubs are owned by breweries. If the pubs have cut off the punk rock groups, the record companies have not, nor have the young people who buy records. There are at least 2 punk rock numbers among the 10 best-selling records in England now, despite the fact that one of the 2 is banned by most radio stations. Groups like the Damned believe they are successful with young people because they are not wealthy, not socially acceptable, and not at all happy with England as it is. In other words, the groups say, they are exactly like the young people who emulate them and buy their records, young people who are either on the dole or underemployed. The Damned know about that. 2 of them met where they worked, as toilet cleaners. And the groups claim they are on a level with their audiences, that they don't perform from a distance, that they don't have expensive equipment, and that success and money and fame, if they come, will not change them. They say that. But the punk rock movement is already being taken over by its avowed enemies, the wealthy, successful, socially acceptable, middle and upper classes. It is now possible to buy a gold safety pin for up to $100 to go with a hand-ripped T-shirt that sells for $16. People who have that kind of money to spend do not clean toilets for a living. The difference is that people who buy punk fashion do it to be in. Punk rock believers do it to be out. But as the true believers buy the records, they are making their working class heroes wealthy. Despite what they usually say, despite what they used to do, their personal goals sound more than vaguely familiar.
I worked in factories, and I was a porter, toilet cleaner.
I had a good dead-end job. I was a grave digger for about a year before I started in the band.
And I want to get very rich. I want to have a big house and a nice car and loads of booze and loads of women.
So the Damned and several other groups are moving to larger theaters where they are no longer in physical contact with their audience. larger theaters pay larger amounts. That puts drummer Rat Scabies closer to his goal of being rich. And lead singer Dracula may still shout his way through the songs New Rose and Stab Your Back, but it is questionable whether it is now part of the punk rock invitation to violence or part of the performance that brings in the cash. The music businessmen getting into the act, the managers, record companies, and public relations types, try to maintain the anti-everything image.
The first rule in this business is there's no rule. Pop is made to be throwaway. That is the thing about it. It's here today, gone tomorrow.
Jake Riviera is manager of The Damned and runs Stiff Records. He has just turned out The Damned's first album, which the punk image will sell.
As a disposable item, if it turns out to be art later on, that's good and fine. But that's what pop music is. And this isn't really punk, it's new wave, but it's still pop. It should be disposable. People like Rat, the Pebbles on the Beach, musicians, there's a million more. If he drops dead, there's a million more where he came from. You've got to remember that. You shouldn't laud them up. It's the punters that put people on pedestals, and that's the best thing about new waves, that the pedestals are coming away. You can see Johnny Rotten and Rat Scabies, both undesirable creatures. If you want to stand near them, you can. I mean, I don't know who would want to, but if you want to stand next to them in the public bar, they're there.